sail away. Take a break or stay. Print a magazine. Build a house of trees. Don't be so afraid. Let you leave one day. We can watch the new midnight sun in June. The world is spinning around you and me under the sun. We'll always stay in this heavy.
All right. Here we go. Welcome to Monday Morning INT Live. It's the Thanksgiving week edition. Chris, good morning to you, brother.
Good Monday morning, my friend. How are you doing?
You know, I am slightly under the weather. If anybody's hearing like, that's what I feel like I sound like. Or this.
Yeah.
I've just been battling allergies over the last couple of days and wanting to make sure it wasn't anything more than that. I said, why don't we just record from our own places today? And that way I don't infect you because you got too much going on right now.
Dude, when you left me that voicemail this morning, I'm like, I don't want you over at my place.
Yeah, right.
I don't want you anywhere near me, dude.
Leave him there.
Yes.
Oh man,
yeah,
it's the season, right? Like my son brought it home, and then I got it, and then my wife got it. My son, my other, it's just like it's everywhere right now. So what are you gonna do?
Oh, dude, it's blown through my kid's school, the office. It's knocked out everybody. So it was your turn. My turn. Hold on, I don't want to jinx myself, but I am like the last man standing. So I'm looking for some wood to knock on. Hold on.
Right behind you.
There we go.
There it is. Yeah, they're right behind you, man.
I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the season now.
Well, listen, we are not only live on our Facebook and YouTube pages this morning, but we are here to record a podcast today that's going to come out sometime just before the Christmas holiday. And ideally here, we're going to jump into how to navigate the holidays from a food and exercise standpoint. And then I would love to present a little bit of a few thought starters on how you can navigate relationships that seemingly are difficult. And we all have these relatives that we don't necessarily jive with and find ourselves in places where we have to hang out with them over the holidays. And so, you know, what can you do? How can you navigate that so that you're not miserable? Because that, man, I don't know about you, but that produces a lot of anxiety for people, right?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And especially in these times, there's so many topics that are so emotionally charged. So I'm excited to talk to you about this because I want to ask you, like, how do you deal with that uncle who, like, their political views are like so opposite of yours, or their
That's
own
tough, right? And they can't wait to talk about it the whole time.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like it's a lose-lose situation. Nobody's going to win this argument, like especially when it comes to, I mean, you throw out almost any topic on the news today, and it's just like, and it immediately like polarizes the entire room, and then it's only downhill from there. So it's like, what do you do? So I'm excited to dive in.
All right, good. Andrea says, hey guys, finally have a Monday free to spend with y'all because I'm home sick as a dog. Me too, Andrea. Not sick as a dog, but I got allergies that are really, really kicking my ass right now. That's kind of the bottom line.
Man, Andrea, you needed some wood to knock on right behind me.
I know. Right? Hey, real quick, before we jump in, a couple of podcasts that are out that I want to tell everybody about. The first one is the one that got dropped just today with this dude named Quinlan. I've got a little clip to show everybody, Chris. So stand by, and here we go.
Oh, and you know, I live in Santa Monica now, and I go to this gym where there's like, you know, everyone's just like amazing shape, and my mindset still hasn't shifted where, you know, I'll go up and I'll talk to someone, I'll be like, oh man, like, you know, I just want to say, like, you guys are like crushing it. Because I think, by the way, if anybody takes anything out of this call, if you go up to any person in the gym and you just say something nice to them, it will make their day, no matter who the heck it is. Just like, hey, man, like, you're looking big.
And exactly. You will quickly gain a gym friend.
So Quinlan's story, man, I loved it because, you know me, dude. For me, that was my story. It was like this tall, skinny kid who could never gain weight. And here's Quinlan, man. same thing. And he's jacked now. He's totally fit. He's exactly, I don't think he's exactly where he hopes he'll end up, but he's in a really good place.
Yeah, no, he's what he's done with his body is phenomenal. But of course, how he trained his mind to get there step by step. But the really ironic thing about the conversation with Quinlan was that as we started to ask him about his story, you had just told me your story probably 20 minutes prior. And I was literally listening to your story on repeat. I was looking at you and looking at him and looking at you and looking at him thinking, wait a second, you literally walked parallel paths.
You must have been a skinny kid growing up.
Well, I was, and then I wasn't. Actually, I was really tiny, and then I actually, I went through a phase when I was, I was always a really short kid, and I'm a short adult. But it's kind of interesting because I kind of went through a little bit of a pudgy phase to a point where actually, yeah, I had some kids at school that were like teasing me a little bit about my weight. But it was very different back then. And then, but the only thing is, from my struggles with it was just I never grew taller until like we're talking like ninth grade. And so I remember I might have talked about this before, but I just remember when I was in elementary school, again, being the smallest kid, I was a target for a lot of the older kids. It's interesting because I was never bullied by any kids in my grade. It was always kids that were a little bit older than me, but I was such an easy target. And then in the fifth grade, this one kid ended up moving to my school who was shorter than me, Bixby Ramsey. And I just remember the moment Bixby walked in that room, I'm like, yes. Like,
Now, did you befriend him and because you were like, I know what it's like, or did you just relish in the fact that you weren't the shortest one anymore?
a little bit of both.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
absolutely. And but he was the coolest kid too. So we were actually we were buddies. But it was so nice to finally have the attention taken off of me because it wasn't the attention that I wanted. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so great. The other clip that I want to play for everybody is we had Dr. Haver on, Dr. Marie Claire Haver, who I have come to learn, bro, every woman in my life loves her like Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's the rock star, like the authority on menopause. And it has been, I mean, just the feedback from the interview. You know, it's funny. I was looking back at again. You know this, Matthew. I get an expression on my face if I'm really enjoying an interview. I just get this smitten smile. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. And I'm like, and I was like that through most. I mean, that was probably one of the most action-packed hours of our life, and it was just. We were drinking from the fire hose in trying to understand all things menopause, you know, all the stages, the symptoms, the treatments, the lifestyle pillars, the hormone replacement therapy. I mean, she's got so many answers for women so that they don't have to suffer for the rest of their lives. And it's like, I don't know about you, but I left the interview with so much hope for our sisters and our mothers and our friends. And it was like, wow, there is hope out there. There is, yeah.
Here's a clip of Dr. Haver on the podcast.
Honest, I still have to have a conversation with myself when I look at a scale. You know, that number on the scale does not represent your health. And that I was so tied to that. I was under this impression that I was healthy because I weighed a certain thing, because I was considered to be thin, and that I really did myself a disservice for 20 years focusing on cardio and not picking up weights. And that muscle mass would have served me so much better at this age and beyond than it would have.
And that's something you've talked about a lot, Chris, is that idea of lifting weights and it really being the thing that sets us up for success later in life.
There is some really strong evidence that's tying muscle mass into staving off age-related cognitive decline. And that's actually where the conversation was going for anyone who's paying attention right now, is that she was actually talking about just the benefits of that muscle mass, especially for women, to build as much as you possibly can before you start to enter menopause, because as soon as your hormones drop, it's going to be very, very difficult. You're swimming upstream when it comes to trying to develop muscle. But that muscle really is, I mean, and I'm going to say it, and she agrees, like it's almost like a fountain of youth. And it does so much for your overall health. And so you see all these ladies and everyone's doing cardio trying to be skinny, but at the same time, it's that muscle mass that is going to increase and improve and maintain a quality of life well into the older years, which I mean, she was talking about the average age of menopause is 51. You're only halfway there. It's like you got you play your cards right. You got 50 years left.
That's
Maybe
right.
35 to 40 years, but still. Anyway, it was a fascinating conversation.
Yeah, it's great, man. And I implore every single dude, every single man, every single boy, every single whatever you want to call yourself, to listen to this podcast, because we kind of hit it from this angle of two dudes trying to understand menopause better. And by doing that, I think we were able to help other guys understand what our wives, sisters, moms all are going through. And then also this idea of how we might be better for them in that space. And I don't know about you, Chris, but like when I come to understand something, I'm generally a lot more compassionate and empathetic toward the people that are experiencing it, right?
Absolutely. I felt the same way. So, and again, boy, she certainly gave us plenty of knowledge and understanding around it. And as far as that goes, what has been the other feedback that you've gotten, like from your wife and your friends and all the other ladies in your life who listen to it?
Yeah, it's the first podcast of ours my wife has actually consumed, I think. No, I'm just joking. But I guess she uses Dr. Haver's method, plan of attack, call it what you want. And I have noticed this, and my wife wasn't somebody who I would deem overweight at all, but she has seemingly lost a little bit of weight, and she attributes it rather to Dr. Haber and some of the stuff that she did. Yeah, Joni Long, who's the wife of the musician Blaine Long, she same thing. She attributes some of her weight loss to starting to key into what's going on with herself and her body, thanks to Dr. Haber. And yeah, so the feedback that I have is just all glowing, all positive. Everybody who's listened to it has been like, holy crap, that changed the game for me. So there you go.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You did a great job though of also like bringing it around to what guys can do to help support the women in their life, through this process. And so, I mean, first of all, it was clearly greatly appreciated by Dr. Haver. Have you gotten any feedback from guys?
No. But I didn't expect to.
I haven't either. But let me tell you,
no dude's gonna call you up and be like, "Man, that episode on menopause was just incredible, man. Thank you and Chris so much for doing that, man. I understand perimenopause so much better." Right? Not happening.
All my gym bros just started hitting me up. They're like, "Dude, that was amazing." No.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding. But
I'm curling right now. Great podcast, Chris. Not happening.
However, the majority of my female friends, they hit me up. You better believe it. And they're just like, that was incredible. So if you haven't listened, you have to. It's probably one of the best hours you can spend just trying to take in as much as you possibly can because of its long-term impact on the quality of your life. If you're a woman and if you're a man. Yeah. Very necessary.
All right, man. Well, listen, let's jump into the intention today, which is to help people navigate the holidays. I know you want to talk about food and exercise around the holidays. I'll give a little bit of a blip and one tip on how you can navigate your crazy ass uncle who won't shut up about this, that, and the other thing. So let's jump down that lane, man. I was saying to you before we jumped on and started recording today that the holidays can be a real slippery slope for people because, there's more food, there's more cookies, there's, everybody's baking and making things, and all of the festivities are centered around food. And so if you're like on a mission right now, and if you're on a path where you're trying to either cut pounds or just start to eat healthier, this is a really challenging time of the year to do it. So how do you propose people navigate that?
Really good question. And actually my approach has been pretty similar for the last few years. If you just look at the statistics, the average American will gain 1 to 2 pounds. I think that the average is about a pound of weight gain during the holiday season, which doesn't seem like much. But here's the catch on this, is that the average American does not lose that pound after the new year. And so most people will gain a pound each holiday season on average. And then the next holiday season that comes around, they'll gain a pound. And then the next holiday season. But some folks, they'll gain a little bit more. Some folks, they don't gain at all. And they'll stay on track. However, that is not the majority. Here's my biggest, probably one of my bigger tips for people that are on a weight loss wellness journey is that I always suggest that they not focus on weight loss during the holidays, but just to maintain. Just focus on maintaining your weight and establishing and again focusing on establishing those main foundational wellness pillars. And so but then at the same time, and I don't want to just stay at this 50,000-foot view and say, oh, just focus on maintaining without giving everyone listening some real tactical, takeaways, so that they can actually that they can employ this during those holiday parties, during those stressful times, because there's a couple different things that are happening. There's going to be some very festive moments. There's plenty of food available, lots of cooking in the kitchen, etc. And so a lot of people, they want to eat during these festive moments, or they're eating because they're stressed out of their freaking minds because they're dealing with people that they really don't want to deal with. And sometimes it's all of the above. So a few of the different things that I've always recommended people do is probably one of the best things you can actually do is simply plan it. Plan a little bit in advance, and a handful of things that my clients have utilized with success is, say you're going to go to a holiday party. A lot of times, if and when people bring, a snack or food or whatever, you can bring a treat, a sugary, fatty, high calorie treat, but at the same time, bring some other food that would help you feel like you're staying on track a little bit more. So, or if for a longer period of time, I won't have a tendency to overeat when I'm there and feel sluggish, and which always eventually gets you in the long run. But at the same time, you start, if you prepare for some of these parties, and you're bringing certain foods to the table that are going to be, say more real, whole, natural foods, etc. Well, here's the thing. I'm almost walking this back myself as I'm talking about it, because it's like the realistic police are like, they're kind of cruising into my mind right now thinking, okay, look, at the same time, go to the party, enjoy yourself, don't beat yourself up. But at the same time, party after party after party, it can start to catch up to you. So I don't know.
I like what you said about just planning ahead. And then you also said something that I think is really cool, which is eat before you go to these parties. Like, put down the food that you want to eat before you go to these parties. And then there you go. And then here's the other thing is allow yourself to have a treat.
Yes.
If you feel like you can just have a treat, and then don't feel bad about that, but just, that's what's so hard about the holidays, because the food is so good. Yes. And the snacks are so good and the desserts are so good. But it again, it can be tricky, and it's really all about how you're going to navigate it yourself. You know yourself best. And so if you have a tendency to hit that buffet table and you just don't leave and you just start smashing food, like I said, prepare in advance, put down a little bit of food in the car so that and it's going to be good food that it's going to nourish your body, fill you up, so you're not going to feel this tendency to overeat. Here's another really good tip that I've actually used at parties. And it's funny because of the folks that I've worked with over the years. We coined a term called glassing. Glassing?
You can see my air quotes here, glassing.
Okay.
So here's what you do. Hit the buffet table, enjoy a little something, but as soon as you can, get something in your hand, like a diet beverage or something, and just carry that with you throughout the party. So glassing is it's simply the act of holding a glass or, a cup of some sort of liquid beverage in your hand. And you can just walk around and you just constantly sip on it. Preferably not an alcoholic beverage, because that's certainly not going to send you in the right direction, but just something maybe carbonated, low calorie, low sugar, etc. And just constantly sip on that. It's probably one of the best things you could do to keep your hands busy and kind of look like you're busy doing something, so that you're not constantly snacking. So that's actually been a really powerful tool for a lot of our peeps. And the moment they walk in the door, they grab a glass of something and they just keep that sucker full. They keep that glass full, and they're always sipping on something.
I love that. The other thing that you're the expert. So if I say this and it sucks, you tell me. But I think the one thing that we tend not to do around the holidays too is we move less. And so, I like my extended family on my in-laws side, they're a pretty active group of people. So we go on hikes, we go on walks every day. We're leaving for Palm Springs tomorrow for the Thanksgiving holiday. I can guarantee you everybody's going to be walking, running, hiking, golfing, doing something like that. And so I wonder if people could, and this is actually one of the relationship tools that I offer folks when it comes to having these hard conversations and dealing with difficult people too. It's like put an activity in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And then there's less time to talk about who's in the White House, what's happening in overseas,
Yes.
what's the latest financial thing. You know, if you're doing something, if there's an activity in front of everybody's face, there's a lot less time for people to jump down those spaces. So
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to activity during the holidays, you can't go wrong with just walks. Walks as a group, and especially if you can start to center those walks before or after a meal, especially like a walk after a meal is wonderful for just to aid with digestion as
There you
well.
go.
And so, yeah, you get everybody outside, you get them all walking together, and a lot of times, yeah, conversation seems to be a little bit more amicable when
And
everyone
upbeat. Yeah.
and upbeat when people are moving together. And so really, I think like prioritizing those family walks after meals is phenomenal. There's a really cool study done about teaching people how to walk after meals. And it was actually a study they were trying to determine how long it takes for people to develop a habit. But what was unique about the study though is that, the whole 21 days to form a habit,
Yeah.
they actually
I
found
thought
that
it was 90.
well, here's the thing. There's the saying was 21 days to form a habit. They kind of found with the whole after the meal walking thing, it took some people 18 days to establish a habit and other people up to 254 days. And so, but by the way, walking after meal
254.
at 250, maybe it's 253 or 254. I'm probably
Wow.
getting one of the numbers wrong,
It's
but
almost a year, dude.
it's a wide window. But at the same time, it's like this could be a really great opportunity to establish a longer term, a really beneficial long-term habit, not just for you, but also for your family as well. Is start walking, because this is not something we should just do during the holidays. I mean, it's just good for us, period. The more steps we're putting in, man, again, all the literature that's coming out around simply moving, not even how fast you're walking, just steps alone, the benefits are just wide reaching. I mean, to the point of like actually reducing all-cause mortality. The more steps you do between 4,400 and 7,500, that's like the magic window. And the more steps you do, man, they just greatly they improve your overall quality of life. So it's a great place to start. One other tip really quick though, when it
Yeah, hit
comes
'em.
for anyone who's really kind of gangster about staying like fit,
Maybe
maybe
gangster tip. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, this is like when it comes to building muscle during the holidays. Because here's the thing: for anyone who's going, I mean, kind of coming off the whole conversation with Dr. Mary Claire Haver about the benefits of building muscle during the holidays is a beautiful time because most people are not at a calorie deficit. You're going to be in a slight surplus. Check this out: if you're at a calorie surplus and you are resistance training, guess where a lot of those surplus calories go? They're going to go toward protein synthesis, toward the development of muscle. And so for anyone who's really interested in getting ahead and almost like getting a head start on the new year, if they're interested in, say, losing weight in the new year, but what a beautiful 2 months to actually to feed your muscles and grow muscle during this time. And so that's the way I've always looked at the holidays, and a lot of my, the gym buddies, if you will, but I would love to start to normalize this for all people, to think what a great time to resistance train. And then because of the calorie surplus with resistance training, your body's going to start developing more muscle. So if you're going to gain 1 or 2 pounds during the holidays, why not pack on some muscle? It's going to increase your metabolic rate. And obviously we talked about all the long-term benefits of
truth.
muscle again, right, Pete? Dude, you're right there with me. So here's the thing. Dude, get in there. Start doing some push-ups and some squats and some sit-ups and some bicep curls and some lateral del raises and start carving up your body. Think about the areas of your body that you want to improve. And of course, attack the entire body. But now's the time to really get into it. And then when you do you go back for the seconds on the turkey or the pumpkin pie or whatever, you're not feeling as guilty because you're thinking, man, I'm going to be packing on a little bit extra muscle here. Now, of course, it all comes with moderation. You don't want to be smashing too many, calories in surplus, but nevertheless, it's a really good opportunity. And then come the new year, when a lot of people will then turn around and create a calorie deficit, you've jacked your metabolic rate through the roof. You are sitting pretty to create just a slight calorie deficit and start experiencing some phenomenal results for your fat loss.
I love
So-
this idea, man, because you're almost setting yourself up for New Year's success.
You are. That's the beauty of it. And it's, you're like strategically, we're going to use some strategery here. Remember when George
Yeah.
Bush said that?
Yeah, I love that.
We're going to use a little
Little
bodybuilding,
strategery here.
old
Yeah.
school bodybuilding strategery here. But yes, it is actually a beautiful strategy to approach the holiday season. And again, you're coming into it maximizing just the nature of the beast with the holiday seasons and the calorie surplus, and then preparing yourself for that switch over into the new year. You can have some fun with it.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. Such great advice. Hopefully everybody keys in. Use it. It's like we always say, find the thing that works for you and then do it, and then make it a habit and keep the promise to yourself, and you should be good. Anything else
Yeah.
you want to add there? I'll move on to these relationship questions and conundrums that everybody has.
You know, I think sometimes just 3 tips is more than enough for a lot of folks. And so I say
agree.
we'll leave it at that, because sometimes you start throwing out too many things, it just gets overwhelming. So think about that. Plan, prioritize, especially if you're going to be going to these parties, stressful situations. When you walk in the door, glassing, grab a glass, start sipping on low or no calorie beverage. And then if you are going to be consuming surplus of calories, you can always plan in advance for that. Start doing resistance training now. Grow some muscle during the holiday season. So it's going to put you in a beautiful place as you switch over into a calorie deficit for the new year. So there you
Good
go.
stuff. Love it, man. All right. We know a lot of people have to deal with difficult folks over the holidays, maybe people that you don't typically spend a lot of time with. And now you find yourself in a room with them and you have to hang out with them. And you're like, I don't love anything that comes out of their mouth. I don't like anything they talk about. If they weren't my family member, I don't even know that I would hang out with these people. And for a ton of people, that's going to produce a lot of anxiety, which is going to contribute to potentially more eating, right? More food to sort of numb that feeling a little bit. And I'll sort of stay in your lane, which is 3 quick tips for everybody to navigate difficult conversations around the holiday. And I already gave you number 1, and you and I both share this, which is plan an activity. It's critical. When you get around to family members that you don't really care about, I mean, a lot of people do this just with a football game, right? Just having the game on allows you and everybody else in that room to be talking about something different than what's going on.
Yes.
And so you plan an activity is number 1. Here's my second biggest tip. And this one takes a little bit of work, but it's really easy to do now because of social media. So when I was on the radio for 27 years, you can imagine, Chris, that I had to talk to thousands of people that I didn't necessarily get along with or agree with or any of that stuff, right?
Right, of course.
So the one thing that I picked up in the training on the radio is to prep for my conversations. And we still do it for like the podcast and, radio shows and TV shows and stuff like that, where you prep ahead of time so that you kind of know what you want to do when you get there. These conversations are no different. I tell people all the time to just go ahead and prep for the conversation. So what do I mean by that? Let's just take like Uncle Joe, right? Uncle Joe, he's a little wild. His views are all over the place. None of them jive with you and your family. And you're like, I know I'm going to have to see him on Christmas, and all he's going to want to talk about is this stuff right here. So what I'm asking people to do is to prep for that conversation by going to Joe's social media. Let's assume that he has something, or you know enough about his life, or you know what he's into, what he loves, what he doesn't, those types of things. And try to find the things that he's been doing recently that you can latch onto just a little bit. Maybe he went on a vacation to Florida. Maybe he, met somebody and took a picture with them. Maybe he had a sporting event or a concert, or he's done something that isn't about the thing that he wants to talk about the whole time. And if there's anything that you need to know about people, it's that they love talking about themselves.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, dude, that is brilliant. I'm loving where this is going.
And so what you want to do with folks is like, okay, so then Uncle Joe comes over and Uncle Joe's like, oh man, did you see the news last night? You're like, I didn't see the news, but I saw you and your wife were at the Garth Brooks concert. Okay. We've derailed Joe. Joe's he's like, in his head, he's going to be like, I don't know what to do with this, but you're going to divert him to where you want him to go.
Yes.
And the moment he's done, be ready with the second one. Oh yeah, I saw you guys also took a hike. Tell me about that. Now, are you going to still have to listen to Uncle Joe tell you some stories? Yes. but it's not going to be about the thing that produces so much anxiety. And let me just put this out there. You all might find some common ground, and you might find some ways where you connect. So prep for your conversations. Figure out ahead of time what you want to talk about. And then the last piece of that thing is you got to be the director, okay? Joe doesn't get to lead the conversation. You lead the conversation. And if it gets to a place that you absolutely don't want to be in, go to the bathroom, excuse yourself, and leave the room, okay?
Dude,
Question-
I love that.
Questions on that?
No, dude, I think it's brilliant. I'm absolutely going to do that actually. So
Steal it.
yes, I'm going to. That is so
Makes
good. And here's the best part. Joe doesn't feel like you brushed him off because you've already engaged with Joe for 15 minutes to 20 minutes before you hit the restroom. So it's not like he just starts piping off and you leave, but you
Right.
can engage with him. But by the way, Joe loves you that much more because you're right. People do love to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
And
it's
so-
incredible.
Yeah. And so he feels that much more of a connection because you're actually interested in what Joe's doing. Dude, I think that's so smart.
And it's easy. It's just such an
Yeah.
easy thing to do. So
Yeah.
And then the third tip is a little harder and comes with some uncomfortable moments from time to time. But it's this simple expression of, did you mean for that to hurt me? Okay. And there's a few different ways to say that. So maybe Joe comes in and Joe offers some comment about you, your family, your wife, something that's going on. And you know he's making a dig. You know he's trying to stir up the pot a little bit. One of the most powerful things that you can do is just look back at Joe and just be like, Joe, that was hurtful. Did you mean to hurt me like that? Watch what happens to Joe's face.
Right.
And don't fill the space. Do not fill the space. Joe, did you mean for that comment to be so hurtful? What's Joe going to do, Chris?
Well, he's immediate. Well, first of all, it spotlights him as the aggressor. And so he's going to quickly back down and he's going to say, no. And he's going to quickly start backtracking. And once he starts backtracking, he's not going to want any part of that conversation because there's an audience.
Amen,
And
brother.
so he's going to leave you alone.
That's it.
Dude,
That's
I
it.
love
And it's not mean. It's just like, whoa, damn, that was hurtful. Did you mean to hurt me like that?
Yeah.
Right. And you're just going to see the computer is going to blank out. Right. But
Right.
it's such an easy thing to do. And it creates a nice little boundary around what Joe's allowed to talk to you and how Joe's allowed to talk to you.
Yes. I
you
really
go.
like that.
3 tips. Activity
Wow.
prep for the conversation. Did you mean for that to be hurtful? Just 3 simple, easy things you can do to navigate tough people.
I like that. I like that. Can I share something really quick? That last tip, it brought something back in my memory. I saw a clip about a way to approach a situation with somebody that seems incorrigible about trying to force their thought process on you. And mind if I share it really quick?
God, I love it, man. We'll wrap up this way for sure.
Yeah, it seemed and the thing is, like, when I heard it, I kind of tried it on of what that would be like in a conversation. I thought, wow, this is really good. It's a brilliant woman. And she was saying, if you find yourself in a conversation with someone that just doesn't seem to want to budge, and it's not like you're trying to force it on them. One of the best things you can do is ask them, is there anything that I could do or say on this topic that would change your mind on it? And just leave it at that. It's like, is there anything that I could do or say that could possibly change your mind on the subject? Because if it puts the ball right in their court, and if they say yes, what is that thing? And then if they say no, then there's no conversation to be had in the first place. This is just you trying to push your agenda.
Yeah, that's it. That's such a great piece of advice.
And you're not taking sides. You're not pushing anything. You're just saying, you're asking them, before we even go any further here, where do you stand on this? And it's like, and what is it that could change your mind on this?
Love it.
So-
Keanu Reeves had a post the other day. He's like, I'm at a stage in my life where I don't argue with people anymore. If they come up to me and they say 1 + 1 is 5, I say, you're right. Have a great day. I just don't have the time to deal with people anymore who just want to push it down your throat. And I think we're all kind of getting to that point.
Boy, no kidding, man. I wish I
Right?
had these skills 20 years ago. They would have,
Oh,
Oh, think about all the time and energy it would have saved.
Amazing.
I know.
All right. Well, listen, guys, we're going to wrap up for the day. Thank you for joining us on the live. Thank you for joining us on the I Needed That podcast. We certainly hope everybody has a super awesome holiday season. And now you've got some tips, right? Now you got the food tips, you got the conversation tips. You have a little bit of, you got tools. That's what you've got.
Yes, let's go. Happy holidays, my friends. And again, take what works for you, leave what doesn't. But if anything, I hope you're able to glean just one or two little gold nuggets from this conversation that you can apply during your hopefully not so stressful holiday season.
There it is, man. All right, Chris, brother, have a great day, man. Thank you.
You as well, my man.
All right. See
See
everybody
ya.
next time. Bye-bye, guys.